Hello, it's Gabby here for you. Before we jump onto this week's podcast, I just want to let you know about 2 ways that you can work with me. First of all, I do one-to-one coaching and I do that via Zoom, so we can jump on a Zoom call at a time to suit you. The second thing I've got for you is an online coaching course that's 12 modules that you can download straight away now. There will be a link somewhere around these podcast notes. And this is the course that I've designed, and it's got everything in it that I wish I'd have known when I finished cancer treatment and I was lost. So you can download that course now and you can start working towards making this your happiest and healthiest year ever. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you think. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello, it's Gabby here from Confidence After Cancer, and I hope this finds you well. This week's topic is something that more and more people are reaching out to me for help with, and so it's something I thought would be interesting to cover in a podcast, and that is people who have had a similar journey to myself, who have had a corporate career and then have been stopped in their tracks by a cancer diagnosis. And people are asking me all the time, is it possible to go back to that corporate career without sacrificing your health? And it's a really good question. So I've got 3 real top tips for you, and 3 things that I think are quite common themes that have helped me and that have helped other people to return to work successfully and to continue in their career without getting stressed, without getting burnt out, and without losing their joy for life. And so my story was really, for many years, I was very stressed out at work. And when I say that, I think it sort of becomes the norm. I didn't feel particularly stressed. I felt I was busy, had quite a responsible job. I loved my job. There was so much about my job that I loved. I loved the company that I worked for. I loved the people that I worked with. I got a lot out of spending time with my team. I got a lot out of achieving the goals and the objectives that I was set. So, and working long hours really just became such a bad habit, and it's kind of creeped up over time, and I didn't even realise at the time how many extra hours I was putting in at work. It was just what I thought I had to do. I've caught myself out there saying I had to do, because sometimes we can be our own worst enemies. Nobody told me as a senior manager that I needed to be in the office first thing in the morning. Nobody told me I had to stay later than anybody else in the team. But I was committed to my job and I was committed to my objectives, and that's what I thought I had to do. And so one of the things I talk a lot about, I do feel being stressed for any length of time will suppress your immune system. I think we all know that to be true. Whether there's a direct link between stress and cancer, who can say what's caused my cancer, what's caused anybody else's cancer diagnosis? There's not always a direct link. But what you can say is, if you are permanently living in stress, if you are permanently not eating the right nutrition because you're rushing about too much, your digestion doesn't have a chance to take all the nutrients out of the food that you're eating, even if you are eating a healthy diet. If you are rushing about, if you are anxious, if you are on edge, if you are not taking time to relax, which a lot of senior people at work, I see time and time again, they're so busy, being busy at work. And for me, my cancer diagnosis was a real wake-up call to examine the way that I was living, decide that I wanted to make some changes. And one of the biggest changes that I made was putting some boundaries in place. And again, it wasn't particularly that I had to have a conversation with the people that I work with. It was more about having a conversation with myself to say, there's no prizes for being in the office early. There's no prizes for killing yourself for a job that can replace you tomorrow. Yet work and careers are such a fulfilling part of many people's lives, but it doesn't have to be this way. We do have choices, and sometimes we don't realise we've got those choices. And sometimes I'm working with people who are putting boundaries in place, and it can be difficult if they have always been the one who's volunteered to do everything, the one who's always taken on extra tasks outside of their job. When they actually start putting their self first, it might feel strange. It's like any new habit. It might feel strange at first, but it can be done and it can be achieved by focusing on really what's important to you. What is important? Is the job important? Or is your health just as important? Is it, they say you can't pour from an empty cup, and I love that saying, because for many years, many people are running around, particularly women, particularly mothers, that nurturing side that we've all got inside of us, which is lovely. And it's great that you want to care for people and you want to look after them, but it shouldn't be at the expense of looking after yourself. And that's something, again, that I work with a lot of people about, is setting boundaries. The next thing I want to come on to is habits and rituals. And I've started a little series about Self-Care Sunday. For me, that was a big thing, making a conscious effort once a week to think, what self-care can I do today? And what self-care am I going to plan in for the week ahead? Because if you're busy, time just goes away with you. If you don't schedule time for the things that you want to do, to look after yourself, to nurture yourself, to care for yourself, quite often people will say, oh, I'm too busy for that doctor's appointment. Oh, I'm too busy to go to my yoga class. I'm too busy. We can all be too busy, but it's putting those things in place as a priority, because they are a priority. Just as you would with any important appointment, put some time for self-care into your diary is one of my top tips. And rituals, I'm going to talk about this a lot more in forthcoming podcasts. Little rituals that change the way maybe that you've been. I know now some of the food that I eat and the things that I drink and the way that I structure my day, they're my little rituals that help support me, because I know that I'm building myself a healthy and happy life. And I'm not going to do that by accident. I've got a plan for that. And I love to share the plan that I've got with people that I work with, because there's a lot of elements to it, and some things work for some people and some don't, but we can pick and choose the healthy habits that we all want to have, the rituals that we have. And I always say to women that I work with particularly, think about the woman that you would like to be in a year's time. What does she do? Who is she spending her time with? What self-talk has she got? Is she beating herself up, or is she actually bigging herself up? Is she actually a friend to herself, or is she a critic? What are the habits that she's got? What's the food that she's eating? What does a working day look like? When does she structure some exercise into her schedule? When does she plan in some time for fun and relaxation? When does she do that? This woman that we're striving to be. Okay. And the third thing that I'd come on to is support. Now, hopefully, if you work for a good organisation, you would have support from your line manager. You might have support from your HR, or P&C as they're called in some organisations, people and culture. There are specialists who look after people, but any line manager has a legal duty to look after anybody who's had a cancer diagnosis. You are protected by legislation to make adjustments to your workplace. Certainly in the UK, I'm talking to the people in the UK, I know that law very well. People aren't always aware of their rights, and I can help you with that, can point you in the right direction to find out the legislation. But it's more about support, a personal support. And I'm hoping if you're listening to this and you're struggling with this return to work, you have got a supportive and an understanding line manager, because if you haven't, that can be a source of stress as well. It's not insurmountable, but it's another challenge. And sometimes if you need support from me, I'm happy to help with that. I've done that quite a few times. So all I would say to you, my love, is my experience is, yes, it is possible to enjoy a healthy and happy, successful career after your cancer diagnosis, even if you want to change the way you're living, because I did. That's exactly what I did. I thought, I am not going to live at the same level of stress that I have done for the last many, many years. It's just not worth it. It resulted in my cancer diagnosis. I believe that. I'm not a doctor, and there's no direct link, but I believe my stress, being stressed for a long period of time, ended up with me having a cancer diagnosis. I've talked before about, we can all handle stress in short bursts. If we've got something that needs dealing with for a short period of time, our bodies are designed to do that, to send all the blood to our arms and legs so we can run away from whatever's chasing us, away from our brains. So we don't need to think clearly, we just need to run. And away from our digestion, because, again, you're putting all your energy into getting away from the danger. And that's fine for a short period of time. When you're doing that for a long period of time, any sustained period of time, and you're not digesting your food properly, you can have the best diet in the world, but you're going to be malnourished. You're not going to be getting the nutrients that you need to get. But again, that's all things we can work on, and that's things that I've worked on. I've got a lot of experience in this. If you've got any questions about anything I've just said, please get in touch. I'd love to talk to you. Have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for listening. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. Love to hear from you. And remember to stay safe and stay sane. Take care, my darling. Take care. Bye-bye.